At a campaign stop in Iowa, Trump is asked a question about something he clearly has never heard of before, and he proceeds to employ his signature move, saying so many things while saying nothing at all.
I'd like to know how you can help us in Iowa save our farmland from the CO2 pipeline.
Yeah. Well, you know we're working on that, and you know we had a plan to totally, it's such a ridiculous situation, isn't it? But we had a plan, and we would have instituted that plan, and it was all ready. But we will get it back. If we win, that's going to be taken care of. That will be one of the easy things we do.
In this clip, a woman asked Trump what he plans to do to save the Iowa farmland from the CO2 pipeline, which is a point of significant contention for Iowans right now.
Pipelines are not safe, they're not good for our health, they're not good for our environment, they're not good for our land, they are not good for our future.
That's right.
That's right. So f these corporations. We will not allow them to build these pipelines in our state.
Again, keep in mind that Trump is in Iowa for this event, so the most basic bit of preparation on his part should have at least briefed him on this issue. So he nods knowingly with as much feigned empathy as he can muster. He says, "We're working on that," whatever that means. He says they had a plan to totally do something. He doesn't finish the thought.
You know, we had a plan to totally...
He says again, we had a plan and we would have instituted that plan, and it was already something. He doesn't finish that thought either.
It's such a ridiculous situation, isn't it? But we had a plan, and we would have instituted that plan, and it was all ready.
He finishes with a promise to take care of the pipeline, whatever that means, and he says it'll be easy to take care of.
But we will get it back. If we win, that's going to be taken care of. That will be one of the easy things we do.
He demonstrated no understanding of the issue. He offered no details into what his likely non-existent plan was. He failed to answer the woman's question, which was, how can you protect the farmland in Iowa from this pipeline? One of the things that always baffled me about Trump voters, especially the ones who like to think of themselves as more educated and more sensible than the stereotypical Trump supporter, was that they were supporting a guy who had never had an answer for anything. He had no plans for how he was going to implement and execute his proposals. He hardly ever showed any indication that he had seriously thought about most of the issues that he was building his presidential platform around. An easy example of this was when he said repeatedly that Mexico would pay for the border wall, though he couldn't explain how he would get them to do so. He said it wouldn't cost more than $12 billion, though he didn't offer any projections or cost analyses to back that figure up. None of it mattered. His supporters just believed that it would happen the same way that he said it would, based on no additional information whatsoever. The Mexican president famously, publicly denounced and derided Trump's assertion that Mexico would pay for the wall. And since Trump's time in office, the numbers have come out. Trump's border wall cost roughly 5 times more per mile than what it cost under the Bush or Obama administrations. And none of that money came from Mexico. The one time Trump did offer a suggestion as to how Mexico could pay for the wall was when he wanted to impose an import tax on Mexican goods. As many, including Republicans, pointed out at the time, this would have just passed costs on to American consumers so that Americans, and not Mexicans, would effectively be funding the border wall. But this clip finds Trump in Iowa, attempting to appeal to voters in this part of the country, many of whom are farmers. Trump has a rocky relationship with American farmers, so a few of them, though certainly not all, not even the majority of them, have rescinded their support from him since his time in office. During his trade wars with China, the farmers that Trump had promised to protect during his presidential campaign took a direct, hard hit. To ease their frustrations, the Trump administration bailed out the farmers, giving them billions of dollars in aid to make up for the losses. In 2020, Trump's final year in office, 40% of the agriculture sector's income came from government subsidies. As one Ohio farmer who voted for Trump in 2016 put it, quote, "He hurts you and then he gives you money to keep you quiet." Still, many farmers supported the trade war despite being personally affected by it because they were more concerned with the economic threats from China. The money, as the Ohio farmer said, kept them quiet and fairly well appeased. Since Biden has been in office and now in the post-pandemic era, commodity prices have rebounded to near record levels, and farmers are less dependent on government bailout money. The CO2 pipeline that now has farmers in Iowa concerned has been a major concern for Iowa farmers for at least a good year or two. It's not a new or recent issue, and anyone running a presidential campaign in that state should reasonably be expected to know what's going on with it. The gist of it is that developers want to run a CO2 pipeline underneath farmland across the state, but the farmers who own the land have to first give permission before construction can begin on their land. Many farmers are, understandably, concerned about the implications of having a pipeline beneath their farmland, and many farmers are understandably concerned that if they don't give permission, the developers will still be able to build on their land by claiming eminent domain. Now, I know that there's a lot of nuance to everything I've mentioned in this video. None of this is simple and none of it can adequately be examined over the course of a short YouTube video. Not the wall, not the trade tariffs with China, not the American agricultural sector, not the pipeline. All I'm hoping for is that the people who have supported Trump in the past and those who continue to support him now have a bit more respect for themselves and a bit more discernment when deciding who they will defend and back as a presidential candidate. A lot of Trump supporters fall into the line of thinking that they know better than the rest of us because they do their own research. What they're researching exactly, I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter if I get it or not. They have the right to vote however they want to. I just wish they would ask more questions. Forget about the right questions, just ask more questions. I will take that. Let's just start there. All right, that is it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like and subscribe to the channel and be sure to follow me on all the socials. Thanks.